Everyone, please stand, please. This city council meeting is now called to order. At this time, we have a moment of silence. Also want to remember Mr. Norman Lytle, who was a former retired firefighter who passed away. So let's keep him in our prayers. Let's have a moment of silence. Thank you. Ask Mr. Todd Stone if he would lead us in the pledge.
Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, we have roll call.
Mr. Allen?
Here.
Mrs. Wilkins-Brent? Mrs. Butcher-Conway?
Here.
Mrs. Hambrick?
Present.
Mr. Hampton?
Here.
Mr. Showalter?
Here.
Mr. Stone?
Here.
Mrs. Tackett?
Thank you. The approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion?
Motion made.
Motion is made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion is made, properly second. Are there further discussion or questions? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say likewise. You should have received the check receipts. If you have done so or received those, please raise your hand. I can show that everyone received it. At this time, we have public comments. At this time, we have public comments. I want to remind you that during public comments, at this time, you get 4 minutes. Please be cognizant and be respectful of those 4 minutes. This is not a question and answer. Will you state your business, and then we will go from there. Again, you got 4 minutes, and please be respectful of the time, and from there.
Thank you.
At this time, we have Willow Welford Gentry about the old Georgetown Cemetery. Ms. Gentry?
I'm here on behalf of the Scott County African American Heritage Association. We've been, for the last 2+ years, we've been over at the old Georgetown Cemetery, documenting and cleaning up the old Georgetown Cemetery. 2 weeks ago, we put a sign up about the history of old Georgetown Cemetery, and your mayor took it down. So far, we've not got any credible reason as to why he's taking it down. This is the 3rd meeting that we've been to asking him why he's taking it down. At first, he said that the reason he took it down was because it's on city property. If you flip that piece of paper over, it shows you on the deed that the owner of the cemetery is unknown, so that's not credible. What the city does is they maintain it, which means that they mow it, which is the reason why we replaced 22 military headstones over there, because they had mowed it. All we're asking is for some kind of credible reason why the sign was taken down, and so far there has been none. And also whether, at this point, we're like, okay, if you put the sign up, that's fine. If you don't put the sign up, that's fine too. But whatever you decide, we want it in writing, why you decided that, and whether, either way, we want it in writing. And we will not stop doing what we're doing. Thus far, in the last 2 years, we have replaced 22 United States colored troops headstones at that cemetery. We've also gotten that cemetery declared one of 10 pioneer cemeteries in Kentucky. There will be a historical marker placed there by the state saying that that is a pioneer cemetery. We've gotten nothing but praise. According to your mayor, he's had complaints. But we haven't been privileged to know what the complaints is. Personally, I can't address a complaint unless I know what the complaint is. Does anybody have any questions?
Thank you. Mr. Terry Thomas?
Yes, Terry Thomas, I'm president of Scott County African American Heritage Association. I want to go back 6 years, and I think part of the problem that we have with this situation, I think we majoring in the minor. We're making a major problem out of something so minor. And what I mean by that is, I just don't think we know the history of the cemetery. Now, once you know the history of the cemetery, you will understand why we put AKA colored cemetery. Now, let me make this clear. 1860 is when the people of Georgetown turned the cemetery over to the colored people and changed the name. They changed it from the Georgetown Cemetery to the colored cemetery. From 1860 to 2018, Todd Stone, Kim Vinegar, Miss Dogood, all of them was part of the people who went back, came to town, got in touch with people. We got it changed back to be known as the old Georgetown Cemetery, AKA colored cemetery. See, we can't forget that part either. We can't forget the AKA. Now, this is what I'm saying because I heard the reason why the sign came down is because it said AKA colored cemetery. Its name still would be the colored cemetery if we didn't come down here and ask to get it changed. So I just don't, I think we're making a major problem out of something so minor. Do you see anything offensive or racist on this? Now, I really don't want to take it out of whoever's hand. I'm trying to put it in all of our hands. We just want done what's right. I've been over there for 6 years. 6 years. Hundreds of stones dug up out of the ground. Myself, me and my son. Miss Will and them came in on another date, but this is a love for me. I love the Georgetown Cemetery, the old George. And matter of fact, I want this to be known, and I'll take my seat. When you're talking about the history of Georgetown, Kentucky, the history, I think there's only one place that rivals the old Georgetown Cemetery for its historical value, and that's Royal Springs. Other than that, there's no more historical place in Scott County. You can move all the headstones you want up here to the other one, but you can't take the history. The history is still down in the old Georgetown Cemetery. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. Mr. Keith Gibson.
Good evening. I'm back again. It's that time of year we do about time for move-ins, so tonight I'm here just to see if we get some street closures to assist with the efficient traffic pattern for the campus. I think you guys probably got the list in front of you, so there's quite a few requests for street closures. Do you guys have that? Or do you need me to read them all? You do? Okay.
Mayor, I've worked it, so I can safely know what he's going through, so I make a motion that we accept this and work with the college on that.
I'll second.
Do we have a motion
Second.
and second?
Who was that second? Greg. Okay.
Other questions or further discussion?
I still need your insurance.
Yes, ma'am, I know. They're working on some, so my point of contact, Sally, she's working on new insurance, I think, so.
It just has to have
I'll
the
have
city
it
of Georgetown
before
on it.
so many days out, right? I read that. I'll get it to you. Yep. Thank you.
Okay. Are there further questions? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say likewise.
Thank you all. You have a good
Thank
night.
you.
This, Mr. Ross Bowman?
I want to sign in case I need to make comments about the ordinance reading.
The zone ordinance.
I don't have any other comments.
Okay, okay, good. Mr. Steve Price?
Council, Mayor, audience, my name's Stephen Price. Born and raised here in Georgetown, spent most of my life here. My grandmother started me raising crops when I was about 5 years old. I've been working in crop production ever since. And what I do everything I can to get crops out of the ground and then on people's tables. But what I see as a horticulturist, as a farmer, as a crop man, is that artificial crops are insignificant compared to natural vegetation. The benefits of artificial crops are insignificant compared to the benefits of natural vegetation. You take all of the timber that people need to build houses, to make furniture, in Europe to make wooden shoes. You take all the hay, all the grasses that can be used for many things other than to feed animals, other than to feed livestock. Grass can be used to build a house. I built a house out of grass. A hut, a small house, a sleeping hut. I built out of hay. But your code enforcement rules, which were drafted in Alexandria, Virginia, to proliferate the lifestyle of Alexandria, Virginia, which is right across the Potomac River from Washington, D.C., and is nothing but a bedroom community for people who work in Washington, D.C. Your so-called International Property Maintenance Code is intended to make me and you and everybody in this room live like people in Alexandria, Virginia. I raise crops. I don't work in an office. I don't drive across the Potomac River every day and work 40 hours in a government office. But your property maintenance code expects me to live like those people in Alexandria, Virginia, who work 40 hours a week in an office. And I would like to talk with Mayor Jenkins about this problem, and I asked for an appointment. I've got here a sack of turnip green seeds. This is turnip green seeds or mustard seed, whatever you want to call it. People in large-scale agriculture refer to it as canola seeds, what they make canola oil out of. I picked this up off the roadside, out around the hospital, near where I raise a garden. I picked this up off the roadside, and I saw it growing on the roadside. I went to Eddie Hightower down here over here in the engineer's office. I said, Eddie, can you stop the Public Works Department from mowing down all this mustard seed that are out there on the right-of-way out there on US 25? And Eddie said, I don't think that's our right-of-way. He said, I think that belongs to the state. And while we were standing there talking, a woman came down the hallway, said she was from the mayor's office, and interrupted the conversation and said, I need for you to look at this. And so Eddie broke off the conversation, and then he looked at her paperwork, and so I said to her, she said, when they finished, I said, are you from the mayor's office? She said, yeah, her name is Sarah, by the way. I said, I need to make an appointment with the mayor to talk with him. And she said, okay, I'll take care of it. But she never called me back. I don't think she wanted to give me an appointment because I had a bunch of these seeds with me, and I could tell when she walked up to me, she gave me a strange look like, well, who are you? What are you doing here in the town hall, dressed like a a farmer and carrying a bunch of, no, at the time I didn't have the seeds, but I was talking about the seeds to Eddie when she arrived. And she gave me a strange look, and she went right to straight to poking on her telephone, as though she didn't want to be bothered. I think I made a bad impression on her. And in any case, hopefully I'm wrong, but in any case, she never called me back. I would like to make an appointment with you, Mayor Jenkins, to discuss this problem of your code enforcement office decimating, destroying, eradicating beneficial vegetation under the so-called International Property Maintenance Code and under the advice of the so-called International Code Council in Alexandria, Virginia, who drafted the code on which you rely.
Okay, thank
And
you.
may I make an appointment?
Yes, sir, I will make sure you get one.
How are we going to do that?
You just call my office, 9800.
I can't call you, Mayor Jenkins, because Andrew Hartley blocked my telephone.
You can call the office. If not, I will contact you. I have your number. I will contact you, and I will set it up for you.
If you will, please, because I can't call any city number because of Andrew Hartley. He blocked my number.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Are there any others that want to bring any concerns to the council? If not, at this time, we have mayor's comments. A couple of items to want to remind you of. First of all, I want to welcome Boy Scout Troop number 124, who's here to observe this proceeding. Gentlemen, welcome. Also want to welcome our new Director of Affordable Housing and Homeless Prevention, Ms. Candace Whitehouse, who's here with us. She's just been on the job now just for a few days, and we're looking for her to do great things for her here in the city. Couple of items to remember is that this weekend on Saturday is Party on the Square, which is their monthly event. It's always good entertainment to come out and take part in that. Also, as you know, we applied for the CAP grant, which we did not get. So we contact the state to find out what can we do to go about reapplying. They gave us some things to take care of and some corrections to make, and we have done that, and we're going to reapply for that TAP grant. That's for the ones for the walkway that goes from, I think, the end of the city limits on on Broadway, 460, all the way down to, I think it's going to Faces. But anyway, we'll keep you abreast of that as we find out. I believe that was for us that, unless I missed something, I think that's it. I got a lot of notes here, but I'll come back to that later. At this time, the council committee reports, and I think we had police report.
Yes, sir, we did. We had, on Monday, July 3rd, we had our monthly police committee meeting. We discussed several items. First one was the staffing, hiring, and recruiting. Chief Allgood said there were 61 out of 68 slots that were currently filled. Reported that Lieutenant Kevin Wallace is retiring as of August 1st. We do have 2 certified officers in the hiring process with don't know how that is going at this time. And we have a large pool of non-certified candidates as well. Let's see, next was the Junior Police, Citizen Police Academy. We will have another class on July 24th to 28th. Had a very positive response from the first one, and the fire department is looking at putting one together of their own. Sergeant Mark Gardner of the traffic unit will be looking into doing a highway safety checkpoint in which it amounts to the effective parenting techniques while driving. That will be work with the school system to set that up. The mental health policy, Assistant Chief Nash is hit the ground running with that, looking at working with Dr. Crystal Miller of Wedco and other city stakeholders in that. The next item we will talk about, we talked about, was the body cameras. They are putting the grant together for that. They have the bullet points as well as all of the paperwork that, with the necessary items they have to have, and they will be submitting that. Also, the policy was written in conjunction with City Attorney Devin Golden, the Kentucky League of Cities, KCO, Sheriff's Office, and others in putting the policy together. We did discuss the mobile data terminal lease program, but I'm not going to speak about that because it's coming up in the few items from now. We are transitioning, the city's transitioning to AT&T as its phone carrier system for cell phones and such. So Captain Lovell said great things about that. And also looking at quotes for net gain for servers and technical support. Also, Corey Council is officially a city employee. Very happy to have him a part of the team. And that if we get another PARI person, that they can occupy the same office and work with that. We did discuss the new school resource officer program that will be looking at possibly by the start of the second semester of the school year of getting as many officers as we can, at least one per school. So, and that was the highlights of that meeting. Did I miss anything, Willow?
No, I think that was a great comprehensive report. I do want to mention that with the retired officers that we're trying to put into the schools, many discussions have taken place, and I've been very forward in trying to emphasize that these officers will be trained in the schools with school policies to make sure that they understand the current school policies and that, you know, they're going to be there day to day. Obviously, we want them there in case something catastrophic happens, and it can help deter, but they'll also be there in the schools making relationships with the students, and we want all of that to be positive. We want to make sure that as they interact with special education students that they understand what those policies are. So I know the mayor has been very intentional in trying to work with Billy Parker, and the officers will be getting diversity training and other things. So I think this is a positive move, but I think we need to be very careful in the implementation of it.
Oh, two other things I want to bring up, and I didn't talk about in the comment. One is that we need to reschedule the work session that we had. One of our members could not be there, so we told you to bring your calendars with you. If you have it with you, Devin's got a couple of dates for you all to check to see if one of those dates hit and find out.
Yeah, so I've cleared a couple of these with the fiscal court for this room. I need to run the other ones by them. But if it doesn't fall on one of these dates, we can always use the library or something like that. We'll just make sure that the public has plenty of notice. So I think the best practice would be raise your hand if you cannot make it on a date. So July 25th. Okay. July 27th.
What time?
4 to 6. Sorry, I should have said that. Okay. August 7th. It's a Monday.
It's a Monday. I should be back.
Okay, so August 7th is a possibility. August 8th.
Wait a minute, slow down. Sorry.
Okay. his glasses.
August 7th is a no-go for me, I'm sorry.
Okay, August 8th. And August 9th. 4 to 6. Okay, so it will be on either the 8th or the 9th, probably in this room. If not, I'll make sure we communicate that really clearly to you all and the public. So just block off both of those days for now, August 8th and 9th, from 4 to 6 p.m., and we will get out an agenda beforehand, so you all have an idea of kind of the approach. Just as a heads up, it'll have a few phases. One phase will be what have we done over the past few years to address revenue needs in our growing community. Recommendations that Mayor Jenkins would like to come before the council in the near future, and then just a general presentation of some other options that the council can, at its discretion, ask to be pursued or researched in greater detail. But that's kind of the trajectory that meeting will take, and the Finance Committee will be consulted as well, putting that agenda together.
Thank you. And one other thing, there have been several questions concerning we did a strand report on the stormwater project that's on Broadway, and once we get that report in full detail, we'll make sure the council gets it, and also anybody in the public that wants to look at that, we'll get that to them. So that will be hopefully coming soon. Now, at this time, we have the city attorney, the second reading of the zone change ordinance, West Penn Avenue, sponsors Connie Tackett and Mark Showalter.
An ordinance changing the zoning classification of certain real property containing approximately 0.438 plus or minus acres located at 112 West Penn Avenue, Georgetown, Scott County, Kentucky, from R2 to B1. Summary: 1. Rezones approximately 0.438 plus or minus acres located at 112 West Penn Avenue, Georgetown, Scott County, Kentucky, from R2 to B1. 2. Provides for repeal of inconsistent laws, severability of provisions, and effective date upon passage of publication. The full text of this ordinance is available for examination in the City Clerk's Office, 629 North Broadway, Georgetown, Kentucky, 40324, or at www.georgetownky.gov. Publicly introduced and read for the first time June 26, 2023. Publicly read the second time July 10th, 2023.
Motion, Mayor.
Have a motion made. Are there a second?
I'll second.
Are there further questions or discussion? At this time, we have a roll call vote.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
Mr. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Showalter?
Yes.
Mr. Hampton?
Yes.
Mrs. Hamburg?
Yes.
Mrs. Butcher Conway?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Motion carried. Next, the city engineer is going to talk about the municipal order approving a contract with Banks Engineering, traffic study.
Thank you, Mayor. So this is a study that we've been talking about doing for some time now to analyze the traffic, primarily speeding in several areas, including in the Indian Hills area and a few other areas that we have identified. We put out a request for proposals from engineering firms, traffic firms to do the work, perform the study, and it would give us information to move forward where we can look at all options and come up with some ideas to improve the situation out there. And so I'm asking you all to approve a contract with Banks Engineering for the traffic study of the Indian Hills area and a couple of other areas that we've identified to see if we can do some mitigation practices to improve the speeding in those communities.
Motion, Mayor. A motion is made by Mr. Showalter, and second?
Willow had Mayor, I'm sorry.
Oh.
Willow had
Yeah. So I've looked at this, and I see the three areas. One of them's in Indian Hills, and another one is
the Gano,
going east-west.
And then the other area is out.
A new subdivision?
Yeah, Oxford Road, out that direction. There's a community out there that has a lot of speeding complaints as well. So,
Okay, and this money will be spent to try to figure out what the best calming mechanism for that neighborhood area would be?
yes, they'll look at all options, everything from speed bumps to stop signs to, traffic signals. They will look at all available options, traffic narrowing of roads to have
Okay.
traffic calming, and they're going to do a complete study of all those options and come up with a report, a plan that we can have confidence in to take action.
And would this expand at all to any other areas in town?
I mean, we always can do that. We always have that option. If we had another area to identify, these just came out of some discussions that we had been having for some time, and a lot of calls that we get, routine calls from the community concerned about speeding. So.
I have something to say too. Also, I think that having the traffic study done, even in just these 3 areas, will give us some indication as to what we can do in other areas, because it's really all over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So these are the ones that were really some of the bigger ones.
Okay.
But it'll give us an idea, because you just don't want to put a stop sign up or in traffic calming until we really do know. We want to be like consistent when we do it and give us some ideas. And Gano is an older area,
Yeah.
which will help because the other areas are newer. So it kind of gives us an idea to be flexible.
And the RFP actually, or not the RFP, the bid document, we didn't put out the bid, we put it out for quotes, but the document that Eddie put together actually said the goal would be that the product would be able to be used as a template for comparable areas. I mean, obviously it won't fit everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it could be used as a tool for
Yes.
similar issues in the future.
Absolutely.
And I would really like to see some action taken with the survey for Main Street and Broadway.
Yes.
Because we've got, the narrowing with the beautification that we did down there with the rock over the bridge and everything.
You mean to slow down traffic?
To slow down traffic,
Okay.
because I live up on top of the hill,
Yeah.
and they hit that hill going 60 miles an hour both directions.
Yes,
And
I
they
know.
do the same thing on Broadway and out
I
25.
know.
So that would really be a big safety
Okay.
feature if we could work on that.
Just keep in mind that that is state. Just want to
Well,
throw that out there.
I know that, but are we allowed to?
I'm not sure why we would want to pay to have a traffic study done on a state road when we wouldn't be able to do anything with it.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Are we allowed to do anything since you've been on traffic committee before?
Anything
To
that
slow
has to
the
do with
traffic?
the state.
Like we did with the rock down there to narrow the?
I feel like that what they've done with the TAC grant with the widening the sidewalks and stuff like that, it's only so far down, and maybe as we move forward and apply for the TAC grant for the rest, might be able to look at that.
Yeah, that's a
And
good
like
idea.
Eddie is like applying for that, he could
Yeah.
like mention that, because I know what you're talking about.
Well, that'll be safe for the pedestrians to have the wider
Right.
sidewalk and the sidewalk to have, but it still's not going to slow down 60 miles an hour coming.
No, it's not,
coming and
but
going.
we're
Yeah.
a quarter of a way there, or a third. I think we got like two more phases that we're looking at, Eddie.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, we're
And
looking.
that'll be great, but I'm just saying, is there nothing we can do with the state to slow the traffic other than
Eddie
when
can
it
ask
says
the state
35,
what we can do, but I
45, and then 35,
Um,
and then they're hitting it at 60?
Yeah, we'll take it to traffic committee and discuss in there and see. We have somebody who's with the state, one of the transportation engineers, and she sits on the committee, and she's always been very responsive and very helpful, and
Is Broadway the same situation? When
Yes.
it turns into 25?
yeah.
And one thing I've mentioned in council meeting before is that corner where Water Street and the dentist office in Galvin's. And it's very dangerous with pedestrians crossing, and if we can make a suggestion to the state to put a crosswalk there,
Okay.
because the crosswalk is very effective where we have it there, where the city hall is.
Right.
If we could do that at least, I think it would make things safer.
And slow them down? Yeah.
Are you talking like right in front of like Galvin's and, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that corner of
Galvin's,
Water
okay.
Street and
Okay.
And that new
460.
building, or that
Right.
building that,
People do
Yeah.
stop, with that crosswalk where the old Fitches.
Yeah.
That's what
it's
it
a
used to
long
be
way.
if you've been here a
We
long
can put
time.
it on our
Okay.
agenda.
Have there been prior studies done to look at speeding and issues of this nature that we've learned from
Yeah.
out doing another study?
Not that I'm aware of.
I don't, not since I've been here, in,
How long you been here?
6 years.
Not since I'm back at the committee, no.
And I know it's some money that you're spending and that's, but, we felt like it would be really helpful to have a third party come in and look at it and analyze it and help us identify, some things that we can do to improve the situation.
So what has been done in these areas? Has anything been done to deter speeding?
Occasionally we'll put up the speed sign, like the trailer, like the flashing, thing. Write tickets, traffic tickets, patrol, those types of things. It's just people just have a lead foot,
And I observed many times, because I live off that street, where we had the trailer up there, and, someone will just see how fast they can kick that thing over, and it, of course, we don't have sidewalks, and that even makes it more of an issue.
Yeah.
So I live in an older neighborhood, but the thing about it is that this is not just that particular problem in those particular areas. This is, like you said, this is countywide.
It is.
There are people
It really
just they don't have a regard for the safety laws. And,
Right.
and it's a concern, so.
It is.
And hopefully we'll try to come up with some way to at least attack it in some form, to at least bring notice to it.
Well, I want to advocate that if we can eventually hire enough police officers, one of the things that they do want to do
Have a traffic
is have a
committee.
traffic.
Yes.
And they've talked about that for years, but it's always been the money and the revenue. But, I feel like that we're moving forward with that. So if we could have a traffic unit, it would be very helpful.
I think that's one of the things that.
That's the big thing.
Big ticket item.
Because
Yes.
it is a law-abiding thing.
Yes.
Everybody's responsible for abiding by the law.
And coming from this, we should be able to use a study that says, if you have an older resident, neighborhood that has this condition, apply this to it, or we're gonna take this study, do some activities, see what works, what doesn't work. I just wanna see that going forward, and $30,000 is a lot of money to spend.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that safety is a priority, but I just wanna be able to say, we can use this going forward.
I think
Yeah,
that it would give us some consistency as to what we could do. What do you say, Eddie? Because that's the whole reason why we're doing it.
I would like to implement, as much as we can that comes out of the study, put it into action and put up the signs, the speed bumps, whatever we need to do, traffic calming measures, and try to implement it,
It provides a good, there are variations in neighborhoods, so they can know situation's gonna be very different from the Oxford, so you can say, with street widths of X feet and X length between houses, I don't know, whatever the factors are, you can say, it's been shown through this study that speed humps aren't a good traffic calming measure, and XYZ is. So I think using that as a template and making it clear, and I'm glad that it was in that document, making it clear to the consultant that that's the goal. We need measures based on street
the
width
areas.
and density in the neighborhood and things like that, so I think.
Sidewalks and no sidewalks.
Right.
Right.
Seminole.
One of the things that was brought up, and a lot of people that have contacted me being on the traffic committee is speed bumps. And we told them, said, look, we cannot do permanent speed bumps because snowplows tear them up.
Yeah.
However, there are temporary speed bumps that literally bolt down onto the roadway. So, those are all also items that we can look at, and you get one that, you have one in one place and you have a need for it, you go over 6, 7 bolts, unscrew them out of the roadway, roll it up,
Yep.
take it, and put it somewhere.
The removable ones, yeah.
Yeah. So,
We're gonna look at all those.
Are there any other further discussion or questions? We already had a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say likewise.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
At this time, we have the police with the municipal order approving the lease of mobile data terminals.
you're going to read this, or if you want me to answer questions, or. So what we're basically looking at doing, right now we've got, we currently own the mobile data terminals, or the laptops that go in the vehicles. Most of the ones that we have are in poor condition and aren't capable of doing much more than one or maybe two tasks at a time. So what we're looking at doing is leasing some MDTs so that way we can spread the cost out over 60 months and be able to put some new computers in the hands of our guys who are now basically relying on computers to handle most of the calls for service that we go to anymore. This will give them the ability to do their reporting in the vehicle, as well as we have the infrastructure set up in the building where they can bring it inside, hook to the Wi-Fi, and be able to access our servers, our printers, and everything inside the building. So just kind of like what we do with the vehicles now, we issue it out to the guys. We'll be doing the same with this. Each officer will be issued one MDT, and that will be their primary computer for their work.
Saves time?
It does. Right now, with some of we have two different styles of MDTs out in the field right now, and with the oldest style, you can't really operate anything more than like our citation and our dispatching software. So the ability to even be able to generate a report out in the field is just, it's not even a possibility. So this will give everybody basically the ability to do whatever they need to computer-wise in the office or out in the field. So,
Stacy, have you looked at this lease?
Devin looked at it in a little more detail, so I know she can probably speak to the terms better than.
Yeah, it's actually through a third party, which is just kind of how we do our copier leases as well. So we lease our copiers, and you see U.S. Bank on it, but the provider is Commonwealth Technology. Same principle. So it's the same company that what's the?
It's L&W.
It's L&W equipment.
They have a separate business, L&W Technology Solutions, that is on the state contract. So, sure. Go back there. But as far as the lease terms, I'll definitely let Devin speak to those if you have any questions on the terms. But as far as that works, the state contract says Panasonic Tough books are the product, and it lists 5-6 different vendors that you can purchase the Panasonic Tough books from. LW Technology Solutions, or Granica, doing business as LW Technology Solutions, is listed on the state contract. I always research those state contracts before, and it's their financing solution.
How long did you get out of the other ones?
Some of the computers that we have are 8-9 years old, well past the life expectancy of them. So one of the things that I did was just kind of research what is a typical length that you could expect for a ruggedized laptop to be able to survive, and 5 years is or 60 months is what we settled on. If we can get something that'll last for 5 years, and then look at re-upping or looking at something else 5 years down the road to replace everything we've got, I think that seems to make the most sense in terms of a good replacement cycle. So.
Well, and credit to you all. Were you all purchasing refurbished ones as well? So they were not only purchasing refurbished ones, but just internally, I guess, maintaining them, which of course the primary person responsible for maintaining them left the department not that long ago. So one called crisis mode, but definitely not getting much functionality out of them now, and knowing that we don't have that person in-house to maintain, and that we can get new technology every 5 years.
Yeah, and that's part of the catalyst behind doing this versus continuing to purchase refurbished, is because they no longer have the in-department IT, and this was part of, obviously, us trying to.
And with the lease agreement, if there's a problem with one of the computers, that includes the maintenance?
It does. We also bought the extended warranty that will cover the full 60-month term. So if there's any hardware or software issues, that's all covered. The same as part of this, they include Microsoft Office, which we depend on. They include a lifetime license on each of the computers. In addition to, I'm working with them now to get kind of a test computer spec'd out so that we can ensure that all the software that we use with our CAD system and with our own internal record keeping system, that all of that will work and get set up exactly the way we want it.
And does it work with the county computer systems that they have?
Yep, so it's all, it all will integrate with our 911 system, as well as all of the reporting software that we use to stay in compliance with KSP.
Does this include installation as well?
Mm-hmm. Yep, all of this includes the vehicle mount, so they'll actually come out and remove the old and install the new. It's the dock as well as the power supply. It includes the computer itself, and then all of the setup. Basically, the computer will come to us turnkey. So they'll unbox it. Like I said, I'm working with them on basically creating a computer image, like exactly what we want all 50 of them to look like. And then from there, it should be relatively easy on their end. And it's going to be very easy on our end of basically just assigning those out, and then they can fire them up and they're ready to go.
Let's see, we've got $56,400 for this event. What was budgeted for this?
That is the budget.
That is the budget?
But he had the lease estimate. It's probably a tiny bit less. I think when we did the budget, it was $99, and I think it's $94 now.
Right.
So.
They gave us a 5% off.
It's the
just
same
with
quote we used for the budget preparation.
Motion, Mayor.
Second.
Motion is made and second. Are there further questions or discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say likewise. Next is the Human Resources, second reading of Personnel Ordinance Amendment, sponsors Todd Stone and Willow Hambrick.
An ordinance amending Section 2-111 of the Code of Ordinances regarding personnel and pay classification. Summary 1. Amend Section 2-111 subsection C of the Code of Ordinances to adjust the schedule of compensation to provide proper minimum and maximum dollar values for each pay grade. 2. Provides for repeal of inconsistent ordinances, severability of provisions, and an effective date upon passage and publication. The full text of this ordinance is available for examination in the City Clerk's Office, 629 North Broadway, Georgetown, Kentucky 40324, or at www.georgetownky.gov. Introduced in public and read the first time June 26, 2023. Publicly read the second time July 10, 2023.
Have a motion?
Motion, Mayor.
Motion is made. Do you have a second? Second. Do you have a second? Motion made, properly second. Are there further discussion and or questions? At this time, we have a roll call vote.
Mrs. Hambrick?
Yes.
Mrs. Butcher Conway?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
Mr. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Showalter?
Yes.
Mr. Hampton?
Yes.
Okay. At this time, we have council comments, and I'm going to start a little bit different this time because I can. Let's start with Mr. Hampton.
Mayor, I really don't have anything today. Just glad to see that, turn my mic on. Glad to see that we got some visitors in the audience today. Thank you for coming. I wish we had more young folks that would come and see us and see what we do. So that's it. And thank everyone for obliging me on changing the revenue workshop. Appreciate that.
That's the only one favor you get now. You'll get more. Now.
Thank you for the $20 you gave me.
Ms. Hambrick.
I too am glad to see young people at our meeting, so tell your friends to join you next time, and hopefully it's been informative for you. I have been deluged by citizens concerned about the fireworks. And I know that we have an ordinance about fireworks that goes all the way back to 2013, and Devin wrote me today and said that that's still the operative ordinance that we have. I've been sent pictures of burning ash, landing on cars and ruining paint, and lots of things left in yards and in roadways that are the sparklers even puncturing bike tires, and a lot of noise for people who need to sleep during the night. I realize that sometimes these seem like small things, but sometimes it's the small things that break our spirits and our sleep, and that citizens have a lot of concerns about. So it's my suggestion that we revisit the fireworks ordinance, and that I realize enforcement is the difficulty. I realize that it's the police who are the enforcement arm for the fireworks. I know that enforcement for other things like property and things falls to the fire department. But it was even confusing citizens because, you know, there was a caution put out by the police, rightly so, about trying to be respectful of your neighbors and don't call 911, obviously, if it's not an emergency, because that ties up dispatch and causes all kinds of problems. But they just felt like it wouldn't make any difference if they called because the enforcement arm is so difficult, is the best word that I can come up with. We are short on personnel. And when we have emergency calls, if it's between noise from fireworks and going to something that's more serious, just like a hospital emergency room, you have to triage. But I do think that, I've looked at Fayette counties, and I think that theirs says very specifically, if it goes up in the air or blows up, it's illegal in Fayette County. Period. A conviction could lead to a $250 fine for first offense within 12-month period. Also a noise ordinance to consider in that as well. We do have a Kentucky law, a state law that says people are banned from lighting a firework within 200 feet of any person, structure, or vehicle. That's state law. I think we all know that that's being violated all the time. And it obviously, part of that law, state law, is it has to be lit by someone who's 18. If we have ordinances, we need to find the most effective, efficient way to enforce them. And I know it will be a difficult process. To my mind, we have until New Year's Eve to try to see if we can come up with something better, because that's the time when other fireworks seem to be in use. So I've taken some time with this, but I think it's an important discussion that we need to have. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. Mr. Snow.
Thank you, Mayor. Couple things that we've got from, I got stuff from Lori Saunders and from Parks and Rec. August 5th is the 5th annual Elkhorn Creek Float Fest with the rain date of August the 12th. It's at the Peninsula Park. Registration, and there is a small cost associated with that. But I have not attended this, but from what I hear, it's a great time. Also, the surveys are still open for Parks and Rec Master Plan. They've received over 1,400 responses so far, but they will be shutting them down, I believe, this week, and with the results coming out in a couple of weeks. Let's see. Movies in the Park is July 14th at Suffaletta Family Aquatic Center. And then the pavilion will be shut down on September 15th through the 24th. Lori Saunders has got a couple of events. Briarfest, which is at the Horse Park, which is a lot to do with German and any horse toys that can be made at the Horse Park on July 14th through the 16th. July 29th is Girlfriend's Day in downtown Georgetown. As she put it, local businesses have exclusive deals and discounts throughout the day. The biggest surprise that they had was last week, they had 4 billboards in northern Kentucky and promoting Georgetown on I-75 and close to Cincinnati when they had the Reds game and the Taylor Swift concert. So there was a lot of people that got to see those. So other than that, that's all I've got.
All righty. Ms. Conway.
Well, I appreciate Eddie continuing to try to work on the TAP grant because it's important to a lot of people.
Appreciate your support.
I'm glad you don't give up, and if you've got to divide it out to where you're asking for less and that makes it more attractive at a time, then we just need to get the safety going there on the sidewalks. Thank you, Eddie. That's all.
All right. Mr. Showalter.
I'm going to give an opinion, and that's all it is. Over the past several weeks, and again tonight, been thinking about this.
What is that? It's the cemetery. Oh, cemetery.
She wasn't
And
here.
then I think back, listen to everything that was said tonight. And there's a lot of history in both cemeteries here in Georgetown, a significant amount of history. And I think what happened about 30 years ago to the cemetery here on North Hamilton when it was a horrible situation. And I think the people that, regardless of either cemetery, deserve better. So in saying that, I don't know what the answer is, but hopefully we can continue to communicate and have some type of signage, whether it's a historical marker or something that's really professional. Hopefully we can get to that point where we can all agree that the people in those cemeteries deserve better.
And I can comment on that, you know, we've been having conversation with that, and to the point that we will collaborate with, I made that clear to them, that we will collaborate with them, but they need to understand that we make sure that we are, since we are using public funds and so on to take care of it, that we want to just make sure that the right verbiage is there, that doesn't offend anybody, that doesn't, that honors those people in the right way. And we will continue to do it. I will continue to do that. I don't have a closed door to that. I'm going to continue to work with that, and hopefully we'll come with something. But right now, I don't know what the answer is now, but hopefully we'll continue to work with
And
that.
hopefully we can do that for both cemeteries.
Yeah.
Better markers or signage, and make sure that people that live here and also visit here know.
And we'll be,
So we never forget.
and we're willing to, like I said, as I told them, we're willing to help put a plaque in or whatever. I do know they want to put a flagpole up there, and we want to be a part of all of that and make it a proclamation, have a day where we can actually celebrate it in a positive way. And we want to continue to do that, and we want to take part in that. So we'll keep working with that. Okay.
Mayor, can I jump in real quick?
Sure.
I know Eddie was gonna mention this, and I think it just got glossed over as he was going through the traffic study, but he did wanna mention that Payne's Depot will be shut down for one day sometime in the next few weeks for installation of a sewer line, if I'm correct. Don't have a date on that yet, but we'll make sure to get that out on our Facebook as soon as we do, and just beware if you're getting contact from constituents, that's what's going on there, but we'll make sure to get the public apprised of that when we know.
All right. Ms. Tackett,
No, thank you, Mayor. Thank you.
Mr. Allen.
A couple things, I'll make it quick too. No eyebrows there, Greg. The body cameras, glad to see that we're finally moving forward with that. We've been looking to do something with that for the past 3 years since we started that coalition meeting, so I can report back to the group that it's like it's finally gonna happen. So thank you, the police force, for that, and looking at the grant opportunities. I ran across on the KLC website a grant called Safe Streets for All, and shared that with Devin and the mayor. But it was an opportunity, I think, missed for us in terms of being able to maybe do something since the TAP grant didn't come through. We didn't, I just think it's an opportunity missed in terms of grants. So I'm not sure who is researching and studying grants. We definitely need somebody doing that, because that will offset some costs for us. So just wanted to throw that out there and just have some, I guess, additional discussion around grant research opportunities. And to Troop 124, I'd like to meet with you guys in the next 2 weeks to see your detailed report. So please schedule that through your assistant scoutmasters. Thank you. And thank you guys for coming tonight. So, thank you, Mayor.
All right. Are there further business for this council? If not, we stand adjourned.